On this episode of Grassroots Garage, we have Peter's AW11 MR2.
We're not going to be able to do it right now anyway.
This is Drax.
Yeah, we don't mind interruptions like that.
Oh yeah, very good. Every time we've done a video, it's been one of these kind of days, and I've been chasing this little MR2 we've seen down the shop before for a while, and I've asked James a couple of times. He said, well, it's not my car, and I've chased down the owner, Peter. Peter, thanks for your time.
Pleasure.
Tell us about your car.
1987 AW11 MR2. Picked it up out of Wagga, just deliberately to be a bit of a fun track car. The NA one's probably less rear heavy than the supercharged ones. Well, they started off being a 40mm crank and an 18mm pin, and then they beefed up the bottom end, and then they raised the comp. So the motor that sort of underwent different development over the years. This one's sort of in between, so it's got the beefier bottom end but without the comp. And for race applications, people actually quite often like the early ones if they're not putting out a lot of power, because they've got lightweight rods and
But the problem
lighter
obviously
crank.
was they were spitting rods, were they?
Oh, when tuned to a point, then So later on they added ribs to the block, quite a rigid block.
Okay.
I used to run a turbocharged A86, and some pretty good power output. With a very small turbocharger, it put down 180 kilowatts at the wheels.
I heard that was a beautiful 86.
It was hard to part with that one.
That was a Japanese one, wasn't it?
No, it was Aussie, that one. But I also owned a Torino as well, a Japanese Torino.
Oh yeah, nice. That's the pop-up headlight.
Yeah, I wish I didn't sell that one. But
So do those vents actually come through? Or is that a cosmetic vent, or do they actually come through?
No, you've got a vent here, and there's a cooling fan and a sensor over there, so it actually sucks air through when it senses that the engine bay is getting hot.
And then kicks it out.
Yeah, and spits it out the back, yeah.
So it actually, right. Oh, so it's not on all the time?
No, it's temperature controlled.
Oh, but I can see through.
Yeah, it'll flow air through, but the fan will come on and
that's cool.
at the right time.
And did they have overheating issues with them?
Yeah, the different markets are different. So this one's got it's a factory like heat exchanger with a water system. Because they're radiators at the front, you've got big pipes running it to the back.
Oh yeah.
It's actually got quite a big cooling capacity.
But, I mean, that wouldn't be. That's what I was going to say. Like, long pipes isn't really the end of the world, is it?
The radiator sits under here. Yeah, so front and rear coilovers, which sort of can adjust up and down and at the track.
Do you find you are adjusting a lot, or it's pretty much set and forget?
Pretty much set and forget, but when it's wet, we certainly wind them back down. And because I drive it to the track, I tend to wind it down for the road and wind it up when I get there. Yeah,
so if you were racing at Wakefield, you can soften it right up, do the drive.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to see anything. We'll take you over it. Sits nice though, doesn't it?
Wheels for me, which is a lightweight alloy.
I just I reckon you could put these on anything from the 90s. So what's back here? Nothing.
You've got a little boot.
Oh, do you?
Got a little rear boot.
Oh,
so
nice. It's handy.
It's not accepted.
They really have put the motor in front of that axle, haven't they?
Well, as much as possible, yeah. So that they are still rear heavy, but I drive to the track and I've got my fuel can and my helmet and shoes, and that's about as much fits in there.
Your airbox right at the back here.
Airbox is there.
Yeah. I mean, could you consider this whole thing an airbox and shove a pod filter there?
It actually, incredibly, it actually sucks air from the vent on the side to bring it all the way around to here, so it runs all the way across the back.
Oh, wow.
So it's this really convoluted pathway.
Oh yeah, right. That'd be the first thing I'd be tearing out.
So that tends to be what first thing people let go of.
Just call the boot
it doesn't weigh much, but it's not the nicest flow wise.
Yeah, a lot of long way to go, isn't it?
The poor thing, because it is underpowered, it basically on the track spends most of its life on 100% throttle. It doesn't get much reprieve from full throttle. Largely stock. I pull out the front seat when I get to the track, and just the one fixed bucket.
Just take a bit of weight out.
Yeah, every bit. It only takes 2 seconds, so you pop it out, and it's otherwise pretty bare bones.
Mate, I do love that blue velour. I tell you what. I don't know.
It's very 80s,
isn't it? And the way they've got the things over the headrest, like a robot.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh gosh, I miss the 80s. Oh yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? Just neat and tidy. So what do you say about 5 kilos with this seat coming out?
Well, the factory seat's probably even heavier than that. They've got a bit of weight in them, and yeah, just a nice fixed bucket that. Once you strap yourself in with that harness, you don't tend to move around too much. So, sort of a bit of effort trying to get steering wheel and the seat position right, because with the shoes on, obviously they're pretty thin on the sole. So to get in a really nice, comfy position, you tend to be spot on for the track and not as comfortable if you jump in normally.
And his brother. In the mountains.
A couple of things that are like little tweaks. It's got a light and flywheel. It's got little roll center adapters in the lower control arms.
Oh yeah.
You know, just to keep the lower arms back, sort of fixes that geometry.
Oh yeah, cool. So that's literally all it does. Gives you space.
It lowers the arm.
Yep.
Back to like the original position before you lower the car.
Sure. Yep. And that stops it snapping.
Yeah, it stops bump steer, but it also just helps keep the geometry in check. Yeah.
Fascinating. Good to know. And while I'm looking at beautiful things, how good's that bike look?
It's nice.
Oh, is it? Beautiful. And as you said, you take this seat out. So these linkages you've done here, this shift, is this your handiwork here?
No, that's standard.
Standard?
I did have a quick shift on it, which you just make a little piece on that far right one, and but to be honest, I didn't like it.
Too short?
It was possibly a little bit too short, and it's just another point of something to move. So I had it on, didn't like it, went back. Personal choice, but
fascinating, isn't it?
how the linkages work,
yeah, I love that. I am enjoying my new little camera. So why did you get into cars?
Have been for many years, and frankly got sick of watching mates on the track. Decided I had to get there myself, so finally got there.
Yep. And MR2 is a good choice for track car?
A good choice in some ways, other ways not the best, but it's a lot of fun, it's cheap, it's reliable, it does handle quite nicely, and probably the greatest joy is if you beat something that should be a bit quicker.
Yeah. So what's next for the car?
Next I'm just going for a minor upgrade, which is just to get rid of the airflow meter and put on the Japanese or UK market injection system, so just a map sense and get rid of the airflow meter. It's a bit restrictive.
Yeah.
So it's only a few kilowatts, but when you don't have a lot, you chase what you can get easily.
And we're back in hyper. That's it for this episode of Grassroots Garage. We've made it back, and I want to show you what's in front of us. Yeah. Peter, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
That's it.
Oh, is it now? Not really your call, Pete. Hey Drax, we done here, mate?
And that's a wrap. Cut.
Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next one.